Hey, what's going on, party people? This is Robert Jenkins, the host of the North Star Podcast. This is a show where we strive to place principles over politics and focus on freedom in all its facets. Today is 20 June 2019, and it's a very special milestone in the show. As you know, we're young, we just started out, and today we have our very first guest, and it's going to be a young lady who is a DC area, Washington, DC area model, blogger, and creative. Her name is VeCoya Banks, and she is the founder of a just an amazing little event called Love the Hair You Wear. And it's coming up, as a matter of fact, on 23 June, June 23rd. It's going to be from 2 to 6 p.m. It's going to be held at the Smith Public Trust at 3514 12th Street, Northeast. You got to say Northeast. And when you're talking about Washington, D.C. addresses, I'm still trying to get used to that. Y'all know I ain't from around here. But this event it's basically a big cultural hair show. It's all about natural hair. It's all about loving the hair you wear. It's a really fun, positive event, and I've got acquainted with it because I've been the videographer at the past few of the iterations of it. And even if I wasn't the videographer, I would probably want to go because it's just that much fun. You got a whole positive crew. You got a positive vibe there. You got a lot of information presented by experts and influencers in the hair care industry and the hair products industry. Various models and bloggers from the DC area. So it's just a real cool event. Again, that's going to be this Sunday, June 23rd. So as I mentioned, my guest today is VeCoya Banks, and she's the founder of that event. And, we talk about freedom on this show. And the reason I wanted to bring her on is because in doing what she does, she is showing us all how to engage in freedom of expression and also financial freedom, I would imagine, because this is an entrepreneurial venture, and I'm that's what really just blows me away about it is her ability to come on and do something like this. It seems like it's a grassroots, from scratch effort, and yet it's a very well done production. So, VeCoya, welcome to the North Star Podcast.
Hi, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How you and how are you doing? You are a new mother, isn't that right?
Right, right. So, little man just turned 9 weeks old. So even right now, I'm trying to make sure he's appeased while we're doing this podcast. So excuse me if you hear him in the background.
Oh, that's quite all right because we a family friendly show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and launch right into it because time is of the essence here. We got, like I said, little man just went down. He's chilling right now. So let's see if we can get it in while he's being cool,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, tell me and the listeners a little bit about your background. I think you from one of them Cackalacs, North Cackalack.
Right, right. So, well, my name is VeCoya, and my name arranges. Well, it's from my dad. So his name is Vernon McCoy. So that's why my mom named me VeCoya. Um,
Hmm.
and I am from Greensboro, North Carolina. I went to A&T, well, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. So I graduated in 2009. So that is a whole 10 years ago now.
Wow.
And I moved up here to DC because I got a job up here. And I've been working, I work for the government, so I've been working there. It'll be 10 years next year. Uh, what else about myself? I'm married, so me and my husband will be celebrating our 2 year anniversary actually on July the 8th. So I'm excited about that. Just had my
Congratulations.
Thank you. We just had our first son. So his name is Eugene Jr. And just navigating through, trying to be a new mom, also working my full time job, which I'm off on maternity leave, and a little bit about myself as I started, like you said, a natural hair. It's an annual natural hair event. It's called Love the Hair You Wear. It started just out of my love for my natural hair care journey, and my interest for trying to figure out what worked for my hair. So I often was comparing myself to, people like on YouTube and thinking that my hair should turn out like that when I started my natural hair care journey. So that started in 2009, my natural hair care journey. So now it's 10 years now. And what I learned just over the years is that I had to find what worked for me. And through that, going to a lot of the different natural hair care shows here in DC. When I moved here, there was things that I loved about some of the shows and some things that I didn't like about some of the shows that I went to. And so that prompted me to start Love the Hair You Wear. So the first one was in 2015. And the first one started like really like 8 weeks time coming up with the concept. I was a part of a photo shoot with a guy named LaVan Anderson, who's a photographer. He's actually Anthony Hamilton's photographer.
Oh wow,
And
cool.
he cultivated like a photo shoot. He had this idea of like 20 natural hair women in the DMV area in one picture. And so he asked me to be a part of it, and I met like some really dope women, some like really like popular YouTube bloggers were a part of the picture, but there were also just like some regular, government working women like myself too that were a part of the picture. But the picture got a lot of traction. So it was like on essence.com and got like over 1 million views. And so he put together like a shirt or whatever after the photo shoot, and we were picking up the shirts and we had a happy hour, and I was like, hey LaVan, you should do like an event, like bring all the women together, because natural hair care was of course like the main cause of bringing us together. And you just relate so much from talking to women with hair. And he was like, well, if you put it together, I'll definitely back it. So I was like, all right, cool, so what can we call it? And I just came up with Love the Hair You Wear. So he called the photo shoot the Washington Naturals. So we just said Washington Naturals presents Love the Hair You Wear. So that was the first one. I was able to reach out to a lot of different sponsors and tell them the numbers behind the pictures, and that made them want to be involved in it. So the first one was really dope. And from that, I was like, oh, this is something I want to do, like, continue to do. So I told him I was going to do a second one the next year. And of course, he's just, a really busy guy. So he was like, well, that's something, you can take on. I'm good with that. And I was like, all right, fine. So I kind of just dropped the Washington Naturals, and I just continued to Love the Hair You Wear. And over the years, like this year, it'll be the fifth one that we're, taking on. To me, just the feeling of like women when they leave, just feeling so empowered, because one part of the things that we do is we have a model section, which is like two different women with different hair types that they use the same hair products to try to achieve the same style, and we open that up to the audience to talk about. And it's always just really interesting because their hair doesn't usually turn out the same. And so that opens up the conversation of how it's okay that their hair didn't turn out the same, and that, it's about finding what works for you. And that's the underlying like message that I really want to drive home to everyone. And then even with the panelist section, that usually opens up, like last year, it started out about hair, but it ended up with, talking about different men and what you're who you're dating. Like, what if my man isn't okay with my natural hair? And it's like, that turns into, is that the type of man that you need to be dating? So I think hair is the vehicle, but it's really just about self-esteem and empowering women to just love themselves the way that they are, and the way that our hair grows out of our scalp is one of the ways to do that. So I can definitely see Love the Hair You Wear expanding in years to come, and being, not just being just about hair, but about just so many different things. But yeah, so we're at Love the Hair You Wear 5. It's going to be on Sunday, Smith Public Trust, from 2 to 6. I'm really excited about it. And this year, I had a lot more to juggle because I was pregnant. Then I had my son in April. And so it's very, I guess I didn't want to be too overly, I don't know the words I'm looking for. I didn't want to put too much on my plate, but it's turned out God has just like really made a way for all the different things that are happening this year. We were able to be on one of the local news stations in DC, which is a first for the brand. Yeah. So was really excited about that, and I just feel like he's just opening doors for me, because this is the vision that he gave me, and he's just making sure that it's continuing to happen. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that it kind of leads into my next question. We'll go. It doesn't really matter the order here because it's all terribly interesting to me. You mentioned that being on local TV news, and you also mentioned being in Essence magazine, and that's something that blows me away. And I love seeing a just a really a down to earth regular person going out and doing things like that and pursuing all of the I don't know, just pursuing doing the things that you want to do to the nth degree. And I'm so curious to know, how did you um, get so media savvy? How did you know how to get into Essence magazine? How did you know how to get on the local news in DC? Because that whole process seems mysterious to me, and I'm sure there's other young ladies and men out there that probably want to do something like what you do and would have no clue how to do that. How do you make that work?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just kind of like just shoot my shot and see
Yeah.
what happens. So one thing I would say, I guess the basis of your question is like figuring out how to get into. To me, it's always about asking the question, right? So
Hmm.
for me particularly, I do have some other friends that I feel like put on events that kind of helps me with creating what you call a media kit. So the media kit is just going to have like, all the basics that you want to pitch to somebody about why they might want to have or your business
Hmm.
on a part of their whatever their media outlet is. So media kit, some bases that you would want to have some numbers in there. So, stats, everybody's about social media these days, but my social media account for Love the Hair You Wear only has a little bit over 1,000 Instagram followers. But the
Right.
fact that I'm reaching out to so many different people. So I reach out to different influencers in the DMV, network. And if they have a lot of followers in that and they'd agree to, advertise about or, even post just that they're going to your event, then you're reaching their network too. So that's something that you can
Hmm.
say that, helps out with your numbers, I guess. And with some of those influencers, it's really like dope relationships that I built with people over the years. So, for instance, like I said, when I went back to Love to Hear You Wear, the first one, the photo shoot that I was a part of, I was able to connect with some of the ladies that were in the photos, and that wasn't even just, you know, I mean, a lot of those relationships are actually authentic relationships. If that's what I'm trying to get at, I guess just trying
Hmm.
to the relationships that you do have with people authentically. Cultivating, I guess, those relationships, and not
Right.
just necessarily like reaching out to people because you need something, because that's not cool at all. But you know, talking to people. Some people are willing to
Hmm.
help you out with your ideas or your dreams or your aspirations if you you know let them know what's up with it. And if you genuinely connect with some people and y'all really have a relationship, so that's going to be not just hitting. I want to emphasize, don't just hit people up when you need something, because
Right.
people can sense that out and it's not genuine. And I mean, we've all been on the other side of that I guess story too. Like you can tell when somebody just hits you up because they want something, and you're kind of like, "What's up with that?"
Hmm.
So I mean, I would say cultivating the relationships that you have naturally with people, which that's going to be, inviting them out to go to dinner and genuinely talking and getting to know them, and not just trying to like figure out what people want. So I mean, not just trying to tap in on to get what you want out of something. So I guess not I guess I hate when people say that. The steps that I took were, I created a media kit. I reach out to all different kind of outlets via
Hmm.
email. I tell them, hey, I'm a fan of whatever the outlet is. I tell them why. So that means genuinely researching why you would want to be a part of something, and telling them reasons
Right.
to why they should, why your a product or whatever it is that you have is different, and why they maybe should give you a listen. Um,
Mm.
and I continuously reach out. So, I mean, that might be like, I might reach out to 60 different people, but only get 3 different responses. You feel what I'm saying?
All right.
So
Yeah.
it's about you gotta and to me, doing that via email, I mean, different people might have different opinions on this, but for me, doing it via email is easier than if I were to put it like on my Instagram and then everybody saw that, hey, because I mean, I think some people might see, oh, she got a feature on Essence or she got featured on this TV show, but they don't see all the different things that I do in order to make that happen and all the different no's that I got. You know what I mean? Or
Right,
no
right.
responses that you might get. And not taking that personal, but understanding that my goal is to build a brand, and really my goal is to build the confidence of women in this area so that they're okay with moving forward with who they are, and they know that the way that God made them is really, it's unique, and it's important to tap into that and not compare ourselves. So if that's my goal and I continuously do that goal, and also, in addition to that, I'm genuine and true, like with my relationships that I have with people. Because another thing that I am growing more comfortable in is just the relationships that I continue to cultivate that are naturally there, that I don't have to force. I feel like God is
Right.
going to he's going to put the right people in my life and in my path, and vice versa, me in their paths, that I don't have to try too hard with those relationships. It's just going to like naturally be a thing. So that's important. Again, like for me, prayer. Like I pray all the time about God. Like, what is your vision for? Like, what do you want me to do? All the different things that I think that I want to do. Is that in your will? Like that's part of my process too. And then also just knowing that I don't know everything. I don't know a lot of things, but prayer,
Right.
he'll put the right people in my life that, help me try to figure it out. I also have a few entrepreneur friends, and that's friends that do this full time. And for me, I feel like the culture right now is, ooh, 9 to 5. You don't need a 9 to 5. You need to just quit your job and go and, do what you want to do all the time. But having those friends that are full-time entrepreneurs and hearing the cons, I see that there's two different sides to it, being that
Right.
yeah, it's great to be your own boss and create your own schedule. However, that also means that for a lot of people, they're working 24/7. They don't have like a
Yeah.
work-life balance because it's all work. So I see that schedule. I mean, I see that as one thing. I see even different things as far as health insurance. Like, like that's um more challenging being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur from what I heard from some of my friends. So I
Yeah.
think just
Your tax situation and all that.
right. So I think just hearing some of their experiences and bouncing ideas off of them, they're able to kind of let me know what they did in different situations. So I mean, for me, it's a little bit of just it's a prayer and faith. I do not
Right.
have it figured out by any means. I just kind of just try to ask as many people or shoot my shot as much as I feel like I can without being disrespectful, because you don't want to just like reach out to different people, and y'all have absolutely no connection at all. But
Right. Right.
just trying to be smart about it and trying to be mindful of, if I was in that position, who would I want to reach out to and help. A lot of people are willing to help you. Now there are some people that don't care, but I mean,
Right.
there are some people that also will be willing to help you. So I'm sorry I don't have more concrete steps. I'm just, like I said, just I'm figuring it out myself, which for me, talking to some of my entrepreneurship friends, I can see that's what a lot of people are doing. They're
Yeah.
figuring it out themselves. They don't nobody have all the steps. I genuinely believe, although Beyonce is the hottest thing ever, there's probably sometimes she wakes up and she's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I wouldn't be surprised
Right.
if that was her, what she thinks too. Because I think we often like look at different people, oh, they have everything figured out, and a lot of us don't nobody know what they're doing. We just kind of just going.
Right. No, you're right about that, and I think that's one of the things that I admire about the whole process is sometimes you may not necessarily know what you're doing, but it's the whole point of having the gumption and the drive to say, well, I'ma still try to get it done anyway,
Right,
regardless.
right.
And really learning the process, I think, makes you a better entrepreneur, better business person, better person overall. You know what I'm saying?
I can agree.
Yeah. So you said something that I want to kind of circle back to, and I thought it was very interesting because we're here in the DMV, and I'm from Texas. So I don't know, down there the natural hair thing is it's probably just as big. I'm sure it's national and worldwide. I'm sure by now, but at the time, it probably wasn't even. I had never heard of it before a few years ago, but about well, no, it was about 8 or 10 years ago, and my wife started doing it, and so the thing that you said that surprised me though was that even up here in DC, which is Chocolate City, there's still like some challenges. You're still doing this and finding that it's like something you have to do to help women accept themselves and love themselves. And I'm like, huh, that's why is that in 2019? Why is that still the case? Why is hair such a big deal? Why haven't we our own women accepted themselves on a wide scale basis? Why are we still fighting this battle, so to speak? You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do. And all I can really do is speak from my own experience. So I can say
Uh huh.
in my natural hair care journey, I'll say before 10 years ago, it didn't even occur to me that there was any other thing to do to your hair besides relax it, because that's what I was used.
Oh yeah.
So I was relaxing my hair, and long story short, I ended up doing too much as far as like too much heat and color, and it ended up breaking off. And I was like,
Oh.
what am I doing? And then I saw some other, some of like my sorority sisters, things like that going natural. And I saw their hair was just curly. And I just thought that was just so fascinating. And that led me to YouTube, which, that was a big YouTube like craze when people had like YouTube
Yeah.
channels. I had some people that I followed like faithfully, and just seeing how their hair just grew naturally out of their scalp was just like fascinating to me. But even within this whole process, so within this 10-year process, I definitely had some times where I'm just kind of like, what's going on with my hair? And to be honest, sometimes I'm completely over my hair. And I think that that is a part of the process too. Starting the natural hair journey, I went into it believing that it would be easier to take care of my hair than having it relaxed. When it's actually the complete opposite. It takes a lot.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, takes a lot more time, a lot more figuring out what works for your hair, and hair changes just like your body does. So it
Hmm.
might be, 3 years ago that maybe a curls product worked wonderful on my hair that now it's not doing anything for my hair. And I still have to like
Hmm.
continuously do that research to figure out what to do with my hair. So to answer your question, I think it just comes down to one, realizing who we are. Um,
Hmm.
we're beautiful people. I feel like very, very unique. I feel like have all this versatility because a lot of different ethnicities. I don't think that they could do what we do with our hair. Like I feel like it's so versatile. So I got the curly going on. I could straighten it if I wanted to and still look, absolutely beautiful. I could do braids. I can add
Yeah.
extensions in. I could just rock it all different kind of different ways. So that's what really attracts me to natural hair is the versatility of it. Because if I had relaxed hair, I really could honestly only do a couple of looks. Like it's just gonna be like
Right.
the straight look. That's real, and it's thinner. With with natural hair, it's a lot more volume. But I think it's an issue because we have to really find out who we are. Like,
Hmm.
you're not just your hair. You're all different. I mean, you're a completely different person. You're all different kind of things as far as like your spirit and all these different things
Hmm.
make you. But um, I think it's about finding out who we are, which is like kind of figure. It goes back to even defining who we are in history, like what our ancestors
Right.
went through. So
Yeah.
for me, it was just about figuring out who I am and realizing that me being human, I'm gonna have different emotions. There's gonna be sometimes I'm just so in love with my hair, and then sometimes when it don't cooperate, like today it didn't cooperate, and I'm just like, you know what,
Right.
whatever. I don't even care. Like,
Yeah.
I'm about to braid it up. So yeah. So hope
Yeah. You. I'm sorry. You mentioned something there that I found to be so true with the my two women in my life, my wife and my daughter, watching them go through their natural hair journeys. The irony of it is that, like you said, natural hair is not simpler. It's not easier. It's not cheaper. It's much more involved,
Right.
much more time consuming, and I find myself thinking sometimes like, man, that's natural. That's a huge investment of time and effort. And the other funny thing that I find just gets me, it's hilarious, is when I walk in the bathroom and I see all the different hair care products they might have, and one of the things I've noticed is that they all sound delicious. They all sound like food. It'd be like brown sugar, jojoba oil, blueberry, edge dressing. Not edge dressing. What you call that stuff? Go around the corners to hold your hairs down.
Edge control.
Edge control, yeah, edge control. It'd be like shea butter and popcorn, ginger, apple. I'd be like, man, that sounds good.
Yeah,
I,
I
I,
think now I'm noticing. I hope it's not a trend. I hope it's becoming like more so like a lifestyle. But it seems like it's really important to get back to like the natural base ingredients of things. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? So like you said, some of the those a lot of those names that you named, they sound like getting back to the basics of what is naturally coming out of the ground or
Right.
off of trees. Like that's really important.
Yeah. Now, is that stuff? Is it really like? I mean, natural like that, or is that marketing, or do it really be having like food ingredient, or totally natural
Be
ingredients in
honest,
it?
I don't know. I know that like I imagine that it would be harder for it to be 100% natural, but it's going through like some kind of manufacturing product
Right.
production or procedure. But I do think that like a lot of the local businesses, like one of my last
Mm-hmm.
sisters, she has a like body butter line. She just started it. It's called London Grant Co. And she definitely does it right out of her kitchen, like fortifying
Oh wow.
ingredients, like making all of that stuff. And then she even uses like glass containers to put it in there because recycling is really important to her. So I
Yeah.
know that like for her, hers is definitely all natural. But I feel like there's a lot of brands like Oyen Handmade. They're based out of Baltimore. It's a black owned business. They definitely use
Mm-hmm.
a lot of natural fortifying ingredients. Um, yeah, so a lot of them will tell you what kind of ingredients they're using, but I would just being completely keeping it real with you, which is something that I try to do at Love the Hair You Wear, keep it real, is I
Mm-hmm.
think the more you go into like a full production manufacturing type environment, the harder it's going to be to say that it's like
Right.
100% naturally based. Like I don't see how that would be
Exactly.
possible. There has to be, some chemicals.
Yeah.
Well, I guess everything has chemicals involved. We are,
Right. Right.
but you know what I mean, like more like not naturally based type things.
Right. Yeah. Because the thing that used to trip me out. All these products sound much better than, for example, what used to be one of my staple hairdressing pomades. That's the fancy word for it. Is pomades. Where I'm from, we call it grease, and it
Oh,
literally is grease. Black Magic. I used to use that Black Magic
blue
and Black Magic coconut oil.
or is it blue magic?
Blue, yeah, Blue Magic. There it is, Blue Magic, and
Okay.
that stuff is literally. I found out it is literally oil filled byproducts. It's petroleum.
Oh,
Just like Vaseline is petroleum jelly, this is something that comes out of the process of making oil and gas. I was like, what?
are you supposed to be putting
That
petroleum
don't.
in your hair though?
Yeah, well, Vaseline and like I say, all that hair grease, Blue Magic and all that stuff, all the the less expensive hair grease.
Yeah, I never
It's
put
you.
Vaseline in my hair. I might put it.
Oh,
But I
okay.
did put it in my hair. But I know what you mean. My dad, he used to plait our hair, and he would use all kind of the blue magic, like for
Yeah,
real. Overly put the grease in our hair.
yeah. That ain't nothing but some oil filled lubricant. You know what I'm saying? With some smell good on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and
Yeah.
that's part of what Love the Hair You Wear is all about, like figuring out the different brands that might work for you. So like this
Mm-hmm.
year, Curls and Palmers are our major sponsors. So we're actually using them for like the model section and the model portion. But also some
Mm-hmm.
other brands that are involved are like By Made Beautiful, Alakay Naturals, Oyen Handmade, The Main Choice. So the hope is by having a lot of those products in your swag bag that you will have access to them and go home. You'll learn the techniques that Love the Hair You Wear as to like different ways to do your hair. Take that home, take that information and that knowledge home, over the time span, use some of those products, and then you can figure out which one actually works for you.
Right.
And so that's important too. But I mean, the swag bag is really big. I have some
Yeah, it
friends
is.
that told me like that they're still using products from last year, from last
Yeah.
year's swag bag. So that's another thing.
This is true. I didn't want to mention that, but since you bring it up, that is definitely true.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I really pride myself in. And even in the last, I want to say it's been like that probably since the third Love to Hear You Wear, like a whole bunch of products
Hmm.
people can go home with. And I hope to continue that tradition. But that's one thing that I kind of prided myself on. I was like, wow, we're able to get all of these, great brands to send us products, and I don't have a million followers. Like, that means that,
Hmm.
like, is really making an impact, or some type of difference. So I hope to continue
Right.
that tradition as we move on. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and say it out loud because I think that that's really important, in order to make your goals and your dreams come true. But my goal next year is
Right.
to actually take Love to Hear You Wear on tour. So I want to take it.
Oh man.
We'll still have it in DC, but North Carolina definitely being another place to have Love to Hear You Wear, because that's my hometown. And Greensboro would be a great place to bring it, and even possibly a third location. It's just a matter of figuring out the logistics when you do that type of stuff. Like, okay, when I put these swag bags together, that actually takes a lot of time and effort. I luckily have some great friends. My friends Crystal and Katrina, they have just, they might as well, they are Love to Hear You Wear brand ambassadors, because they always rep
Hmm.
and Love to Hear You Wear. But they helped me put together the bags and stuff. But that would be something I would have to figure out with taking it on the road. But I think that, the experience is unique in a natural hair care environment. There's some great shows in DC. For example, the Ubiquitous Expo, that happens every year here in DC, the Naturalista Hair Show that happens every year here in DC, and they are wonderful shows. I feel like they're kind of more like vendor based and bigger, shows. Like, you go and you see
Hmm.
a lot of the vendors, and they have great panels too. Um, but Love to Hear You Wear is different in the experience, where it's kind of like smaller, more intimate, and more so one on one. Hey, girl, how are you feeling about your hair? You know, how can we figure out what works for your hair? That type thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, I tell you what, man. I'm just really amazed, like I said, by what you're doing here. And let's see. Let's see if we can get one more question in there, because I really wanted to touch on this, and just of personal interest here in D.C. If you have natural hair, we got a lot of government jobs here. We got a lot of corporate jobs here. Is there such a thing as hair etiquette at work? Is there do's and don'ts? Is natural hair accepted in the workplace for the most part, in your experience, and talking to some of your friends and colleagues? How is it viewed by corporate America and governmental, I guess you would call it, America?
That's so interesting. Me and my husband were talking about that, because he is actually co-hosting Love the Hair You Wear with me this year, and he is
Right.
on his free form lock journey. So that's where you let like your hair lock up, and it kind of like, he doesn't go get it twisted every week. It's just definitely like, just growing out of his scalp the way that it grows out of your scalp without a lot of manipulation, if that makes sense.
Right.
So
It does.
he's a teacher. So and he's a black male, so you know, his role is really important in the sense that I don't think that, and he works in like Southeast DC with a lot of like, black schools. So, he
Hmm.
looks like the people that he's teaching. So I don't feel like they really say anything, or, like administration would say anything to him about his hair, because like, what could they say? I work for the government, and
Hmm.
in my work environment, what I've noticed is that you can't really address people about too many things without it being an
Yeah.
issue. So nobody would say anything to me about my hair either. But I do
Hmm.
have like a friend that works for the Department of Justice that feels like, she has to be careful about what she does to her hair and how she wears it. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's just gonna depend on the type of work environment that you work in, because I can even if somebody couldn't say anything to you, they probably could make you feel uncomfortable if they didn't like the way that your hair was, if they felt like it was too, I don't know, ethnic or something. But then again, like, who are we to be making all of these guidelines about what somebody else is doing with their hair?
Right.
Because me and him were even talking about the words that people use. So I heard somebody calling their hair, or somebody in their family's hair, nappy, and I was just like, I would take offense to that, because I take, nappy to mean unkept. And so he was saying that, why is nappy a bad word? So we got into, like, or something that people take offense to, or like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got into, like, all of those different discussions and logistics. I think it really just comes down to, it depends on what type of, I guess, technically nobody should be telling you what to do with your hair. It's coming out of your scalp. Why are you
Right.
telling me what to
Right. Right.
and why is the way I'm here wearing my hair considered unprofessional, but you could, I don't know, wear a mohawk and that would be okay, right? But
Mm-hmm.
um I think it really just comes down to how much conflict are you willing to go through
Right.
in order
Right.
to do what you want to do. And it honestly just depends on the environment that you're in. Luckily, I'm in a great environment where nobody's going to say anything to me about my hair. No matter how I feel like I choose to wear it, they would just have to deal with it. um
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um but I know there's some other people that aren't so lucky to be in that type of environment. And if they wanted to wear their hair in locks, or, a curly fro, they might get
Mm-hmm.
some pushback about it. And, nobody wants to be uncomfortable. So
Right.
I think it depends on what environment you're in, and how much you're willing to, equally push back. And,
Yeah.
some of us, I get it. I can see both ways, as far as, like, if you're willing to give them a little bit of noise about, giving you some issues over it, or if you just like, hey, you know what, I ain't even trying to deal with it. I'm gonna just wear my hair in a bun, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I tell you what, for me has been kind of my natural hair journey, and I was recently retired from the Air Force, 21 years of service there, and so when I first joined the Air Force, I think I went to basic training. I had the whole Ice Cube look going on, and so I had a little afro with a full Ice Cube looking beard. You know what I'm saying? And got all that shaved off in basic. And basically, I done spent the last 20 something years waiting for the day when I can grow my beard back out of my afro. Unfortunately, what has happened is beards have become like the in thing now. So everybody got a beard. Back in the days, it wasn't really like that. And then also, my hair done changed, meaning mainly my hairline done changed. So my afro don't look tight like it used to. And now my beard all gray. I'm like, oh man, well, oh well. But then again, like you said, you got to love the hair you wear, and I still be rocking my beard. I don't care if it's gray or not. That's the way it's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah. You got to do what's right for you. You definitely.
Yeah, indeed. So hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up here, but I just want to ask you one more question here, and that is, do you have any quick words of advice or encouragement for anyone who might be looking at you and wanting to do what you do? What would you tell them?
Wow. I guess I would say, one, I guess, set your intentions on whatever it is that you want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, writing down things really, really, really helps me move towards my goals. If I write it down, then it's somehow trapped in my mind, and I'm just really good at, like, getting the to do list off of checking things off the to do list. Also, you know, sorry, EJ just acted like he was about to get up, but he didn't. That's being I had a train of thought and now I lost it. Um, Figuring out your strengths. So whatever your
Right.
strengths are, we all have different strengths. So I would definitely capitalize on whatever my strengths are. Like, I discovered, for me, one of my strengths is, like I said, writing things down. So if I write it down, like, that's how I was even able to accomplish, doing Love the Hair You Wear, although it's on Sunday, but you know what I mean? figuring out how to do love the hair you wear by also having a newborn, by writing it
Mm-hmm.
down and dissecting it into little things to do each day, starting since January. um if you're doing an event, plan as much as possible, because there's nothing worse than waiting until the last minute and then figuring out that you haven't really dissected all the tasks as well as you should have, and then trying to accomplish all of that the day of, because that's
Right.
a lot to take on. But planning an event, like, be okay with delegating tasks, figuring out, people that you can depend on, even if that's some of your friends that really want to help, like being okay with being like, okay, they want to help me and they said that they want to help me. So I'm gonna let them help,
Mm-hmm.
like not trying to take it all on yourself.
Right.
Also, I would say this is the first year that you mentioned entrepreneurship earlier in the podcast. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One of my girlfriends that I mentioned, that started her body butter business in the past 2 years, she had these set price points. And so I want to say, for the longest with Love the Hair You Wear, I was like, kind of just, it was a passion project for me. And it's still a passion project. But now that I'm starting my family and it's year 5, it's really important for me to make sure that, all the time and effort and money that I put into this, that it makes sense. So the
Mm-hmm.
first year where I set a price point based on, this is what I need in order to move forward with this, as opposed to, I'ma just, set these tickets at $15 and I really want people to come. And I do want people to come, but in order for this
Right.
to be a business and to make sense, it has to be profitable. So this is the first year that I've
Indeed.
done that. And that's stepping outside of my comfort zone, because the tickets are, well, the early bird tickets I think were 25, and then they moved up to 30, and then general admission tickets are $40. So I even had
Right.
some people on my, one person commented on my Instagram like this, she thought the tickets cost too much, especially compared to some of the other hair shows in this area. And one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I had to take in with that was, although, I kind of perceived it as a negative comment, one, everything isn't for everybody, so I'm not going to please
Right.
everybody. And two,
Right.
like, she even admitted that she was comparing my Love the Hair You Wear to other hair shows, but she's never been to Love the Hair You Wear, which Love the Hair You Wear is a unique experience. I haven't been to anything
Mm.
else like it. So I gotta, be okay with, if this is the price that I set because this is what I have to do in order for it to make sense, then I gotta be okay with receiving comments like that. And one of
Right.
my friend Tiffany that I was telling you about, I was asking her, how she came up with her price points for stuff. And one thing she said was that she has a vision for herself. So she sees herself in a Nordstrom's type of store. And so,
Oh, okay.
if I'm in a Nordstrom type of store, she's like, Nordstrom isn't worried about setting prices to appease Walmart customers, because
Right.
they don't attract Walmart customer. They have their own customer
Right.
base. So I guess I'm just saying, be comfortable in whatever your vision is for yourself and your
Mm-hmm.
business, being comfortable with that and setting the price. And you know what I mean? Like, of course you want it to be worth it for people, but just don't shortchange yourself because you're afraid
Mm-hmm.
of, getting.
Not delivering on the goods,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Well, no. You want to deliver the goods. Now you do. Like, if you charge
No,
like,
no. I mean that don't shortchange yourself because you're afraid of not delivering on the goods. Do what you think is worth and what it needs to be. Right? Is that what you're saying?
well, yeah, do what you think, do what you know is worth. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, like the swag bag that I was telling you about, or that you saw. The fact that some of
Mm-hmm.
my friends told me that they're still using it from a year later, and the tickets are
Mm-hmm.
$40 this year. Like, I went through Target, I went through some of these, stores, and looked at some of the prices for some of these hair products.
Please, that's 2 bottles or something.
Yeah, that's 2 bottles. So it's okay if I charge that much for the ticket. You're either gonna come or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not gonna come, then you weren't who I was trying to attract anyway. So that's okay.
Right.
So I guess just be
Right.
confident, be okay to go out of your comfort zone. Know you're gonna make mistakes sometimes. And that's okay. Like, you gotta just keep trying, and we'll always be figuring it out for as long as we're living. So yeah. Those are just some of my words of advice.
Cool. Well, hey, VeCoya, I want to thank you for spending this time with us on the North Star podcast. Before I let you go, I want to let everybody know again, this event is happening on Sunday, June 23rd. It's at the Smith Public Trust, 3514 12th Street Northeast in DC.
Right.
Your website.
Go. Oh, you already. Oh, good. You know the website. Go ahead. Sorry, I ain't even mean to cut you.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the love site. The website is love the hair you wear dc.com. Is that right?
Yes, and they can subscribe,
Yeah.
and when you subscribe, you'll be the first to figure out about our plans of when the next the Love Your Hair You Wear is. Whenever anything is on sale, you'll be the first to know. Like this year, I released it to the website subscribers first, and the early bird tickets sold out before I was able to even announce it on Instagram. So you
Oh
want
wow.
to subscribe to Love the Hair You Wear DC.com to figure out to get the exclusive on all Love the Hair You Wear news.
Okay, that's a great idea right there. Once again, thank you for stopping by the North Star podcast. Not really stopping by, but joining us from a distance in here in spirit anyway. And I guess I will see you Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
All right, I want to bid you 2 digits. That's my way of saying peace.